go. Whoa! Welcome into the High Noon Rant. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. It's hot topics, current events, trends, buzzworthy conversational fare, whatever it is people are talking about. I compile it all and we run through it. It's performed in a stream of consciousness, which means it's just me talking about the world. But I do go through it like a list. We go topic to topic to topic. And by the end of this, you should have a pretty good idea of what's happening in the world. That's the goal of the show. It is called the High Noon Rant, and we've been doing it every day since 2021, 3 years, every day, Monday through Friday. A little different than maybe we don't do politics. I don't care about politics. I don't care about your politics. You shouldn't care about my politics. If you are such a baseline individual that the only brand that you can come up for yourself is to present yourself as, hey, this is my politics. Like if one of the first things I learn about you is your politics, no, don't do that. You're not trying hard. You try hard to be a human. Be an interesting person. Maybe the first thing I should find out about you is that your favorite show is Will Trent. That was an example. I don't know what show that is. That's a real show, right? Will Trent. But wouldn't that make you more interesting than just, somebody standing in line at Starbucks wearing some, awful partisan piece of paraphernalia? What if your hat just said, I watch Will Trent? I wouldn't talk to you either. That's weird. You get my point, though. The show is not for people who are all ruined politically. This show is for the people. Who's that on TV? She kind of got like she kind of looks like Marty's wife from Ozark, doesn't she? Who is that? Carrie Cordero. Anyway, moving on. This show doesn't do politics. The show will unfold. I told you it's a stream of consciousness, just me talking. No filter, no nothing. The show will unfold in 4 separate but equal. Nah, they're not even equal. They will unfold in 4 different quarters. Call them quarters because football. First quarter, antecedently on this day. This is where I just run down a bunch of things that happened on this day in history, just to get us all ramped up as to what we can expect. This is what's happened before. Maybe it's going to happen again. Quarter 2 is birthdays. These are people celebrating a birthday today. It's nothing more complicated than, hey, this person's having a birthday. Are they cool? That's it. Quarter 3, deads. These are the people who've died. These are the people who've died. People who've passed away on this day. We take a look at their lives and we decide where they go, heaven or hell. Those are the first 3 quarters of the rant. Quarter 4 is all the hot topics, the trending subjects, whatever it is people are buzzing about. And that's just me riffing, again, non-political, because I don't want to do any of that BS. Let's say hi to the chat room. Hi, Mama B. Mama B's in the chat room. We've got James is in the chat room. We got Byron in the chat room. We got Al. We got Leslie C. Oh, that reminds me. This show runs on your tips. That's right, gratuities. We don't do advertising. We don't do anything like that. If you like the show, you want to throw us something, hey, come on. It's like a religion, right? Priests don't. Well, what am I thinking here? Do priests get paid? Priests get paid, right? There's probably some big accounting department in the Vatican that does pay stubs and stuff. Nuns get paid. Of course they do. What? Moving on. Anyway, if you want to tip the show and you are the big tipper of the day, that makes you the executive producer of the day. And today we have another tandem. We have a tandem producers. Leslie C. and Christina P. They've tandem produced before. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for keeping this show going. You do it every month. This month, we're in Pledge Week. That's right. This is another Pledge Week. We need to raise a certain amount of money by the end of the show on Friday. We're gonna go full on Friday. Here it is. I'll put it down there. We'll let it scroll. The number this week is $300. A pittance. A pittance. A pittance. Come on. People go out and spend that at dinner. Well, I don't, but other people do. $300 is what we need to raise this week to keep it on for another month. If you can help contribute to that goal, drop it in the Venmo, drop it in the Cash App. And thank you to Leslie C. and Christina P. We'll keep a running total on this as the week goes on. And we'll thank the people accordingly. All right, I hate this part. I hate this part of it. I hate the evangelical part of it where I got to become like suddenly, give me money or Jesus is going to love you. It's not it. It's just, this show is an experiment. Can somebody who doesn't do divisive politics, who is unemployable on terrestrial radio, I'll say it. Why not? Why not say it? Because I don't do, politically divisive stuff. Let's prove that this kind of talk radio has a place. And I show politics. How can you not when having conversation in this country in this day and age? I will show my politics. But the thing is, it's not all encompassing. And it certainly isn't anchor dropped like the shit I believe today. I completely understand that, 5 years from now, somebody may present new information and I may have to change my opinion. You know how much stuff I've changed my opinion on in the 50 plus years that I've been alive? A lot. You always got to change. New information. You're like, I didn't know that. Okay, guess I was wrong. So that's why I don't have any problem in the stream of consciousness allowing my current political mindset to filter through. What are you doing, dog? The dog is trying to get through. Here you go. You want to get through? All right, there you go. Make it a little bit easier for you. What KSKY and run it your way. James says time to buy KSKY and run it your way. James says it costs more than $300 because I'm in no position. But you're absolutely right. That is a dream. That is an absolute dream of mine, to get a group of investors and build a local talk station that only serves the community with real talk, not what we get. Real talk, the way real people talk, the way people talk when they get along together at backyard parties, the way people talk when they're just, taking out the mail. Everybody's not mad at each other. I'm tired of everybody. Colin Cowherd kind of went on that whole thing this weekend. Did you hear about that? Colin Cowherd, the sports guy. Dog. Want to knock it off? She's looking at me. If you could see it, what a great shot that was. She just looked up me with her eyes. She's like digging in the carpet. She can't do that. She's not allowed to do that. Colin Cowherd, the sports guy, who I don't know, he's a national sports guy. And I what do you want from me? He's a sports guy. Here's the thing. I don't hate him. I know a lot of people, we're programmed to just hate everybody. I hate that guy. Except Dan Patrick. Dan Patrick and Rich Eisen, they seem to be the ones that are designated to be universally beloved. But everybody else in sports, I hate that guy. Anyway, Colin Cowherd apparently went on a rant about he's tired of, it got taken like in totally political ways. And I suppose it wasn't too much of a stretch to do that. But he went on a rant and he started talking about how, why does everybody hate America all of a sudden? Why is everybody angry at America? And I always push back on that. I was always angry. I was always angry when one political party about 20 years ago, they seemed to confiscate the American flag. I love the American flag. We have very strict rules in our house about the American flag. I love the American flag. But suddenly it was like all of these people like wearing the flag and like horn it out. I always hated that. I don't hate America. I think America's awesome. I think America's a work in progress, as any great civilization always is. The minute a civilization starts to begin that they've perfected the art of being a society, they all fall apart, and they all have fallen apart. Isn't that some great smart person thing where they say, name me a civilization that didn't rule the world at one point that is still around today? And that gets to us. Us. Yeah. So I don't know. I hope we hold it together. I like America. I like American girls, and I like American rock and roll, and American cars, and American food, and American people. But all of a sudden, it's like, what? We're a shithole? We're not a shithole. I'm looking at now. Granted, I flop in a very nice neighborhood, so maybe out my window it's not a shithole. But I don't think it's a shithole in your neighborhood either. I think America is still pretty good. I think it's still better than Cambodia. I think it's still better than, those are our options? I don't know. Anyway, Colin Cowherd kind of went on a rant about why are we all hating on America? Let's stop hating on America. I kind of agree with that. Let's have a summer where we reclaim America. We tell her that we love her. America is our beautiful bride who, after 5 years of marriage, disappeared for a weekend. And we're not going to ask any questions because we love her. We're just going to be like, You needed that, America. You needed that girls' trip to Miami. But now let's welcome her back. All right, let's get started. It is the High Noon Rant. Hi, April. April's here. Bill is here. Okay, more people coming into the chat room. Let's see. Let's get as many people as we can here in the chat room. Mix it up. Cameron's here. I didn't say hi to Cameron. There's people I didn't say hi to. Did I say hi to Peter? I don't know. I like to make sure that everybody in the initial wave of chat rumors gets their hidey hoes. All right. Once again, we talked about Pledge Week, $300. That's the number for this week. We need to try and make at least $50 a show. Look, we'll be fine. Hopefully, he says optimistically on Monday. Now it'll be fun, because, you'll see me, the flop sweats will increase as we get later in the week. But right now, let's move forward and let's have fun. Let's get started with the show. As I said, 4 quarters is how the show runs. The first one we call Antecedently on This Day. What is that? Well, that's basically where we take a look back at history. It's this day in history. Antecedently on this day. All right, how about this? And I only mention this because, I normally wouldn't even stop here for this. This story doesn't even seem all that important. But hold on, I want to talk about this because I didn't know this was a thing until today. So maybe we're all going to learn something here. It was on this day in 1844 that the last pair of great auks are killed. Great auks. Do you know what great auks are? Do you know what auks are? TV's off. Holy crap. Stupid internet. These damn storms. That's probably not due to the storms. So do you guys know what great auks are? I didn't know these were a thing because they went extinct in 1844. I've never heard of a great auk. I didn't even know. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, that's a penguin. Did you know that we had penguins here in North America? We did. Great auks. And they were all hunted into extinction. There's a great auk. That's what they look like. And they're not technically penguins. I think they're distant relatives, but they look like penguins and they act like penguins, and they hung out, Canada and stuff, and like on the eastern United States seaboard. We had penguins at one point, and we hunted them all into existence on this day in 1844. The last 2 were killed. I like to romanticize that. I like to imagine the last 2. They're like a Bonnie and Clyde couple of auks. And they're holding their little flippers. Sounds like they're executed. Antecedently on this day in 1937, the Duke of Windsor marries Wallis Simpson. This was a big deal. Hi, Jen. Jen's here. April's here. Bill's here. The Duke of Windsor marries Wallis Simpson. This was the dude who was supposed to be king. He was supposed to be king of England. And he fell in love with this, like, he gave up the throne for an American divorce party girl. He gave up the throne for basically, and look, it's history, so I'm just going to say it. He gave up the throne for ugly Paris Hilton. That's what this guy did. And he went and he ran around. Now, there's a lot of cool stories about why he did this, and it's because he was like, he was a secret sexy man, meaning his sex life was very secret. He was into some things that just wouldn't play well with the British. And he loved his party boy lifestyle. And who wouldn't? He was heir to the throne for like the first 30 years of his life. He partied. He got used to that lifestyle. And in California, he got used to a more libertine lifestyle. And this is where he met Wallis Simpson. And people say that she was a beard. She was a cover so that he could live the life that he wanted to. Whatever. I don't care. It was on this day that they got married. On this day, antecedently in 1965, the launch of Gemini 4. The first multi-day space mission by a NASA crew. Ed White, a crew member, he performed the first ever American spacewalk. Gemini. By the way, I love that about Gemini. The Gemini. People have forgotten. Gemini is forgotten. It's like we go. Everybody knows the Mercury. Everybody knows the Mercury program. Gus Grissom and John Glenn and the Right Stuff. The Mercury guys. And everybody knows the Apollo guys, because the Apollo guys, Buzz and Neil, those guys went to the moon. Everybody forgets, the guys that did the heavy lifting. Those were the Gemini guys, the Gemini mission guys. They did all the pickup truck stuff, the work. They learned to do the stuff that Apollo was then able to do. Mercury was just, can we go to space? And we just sent people to space. And it was like, yay! And then Gemini came in and they're like, well, what can we do in space? Can we spacewalk? Can we leave the vehicle? Can we go send multiple people? Gemini was important. Also, Gemini is fun because depending on, I guess, where you're from in this country, you pronounce it two different ways. For me, I'm Midwestern. It's the Gemini Project. However, I think if you're from the South, you're allowed to call it Gemini, the Gemini Project. Were you Gemini? I was Gemini. Were you Gemini? No, I'm Gemini. Where are you from, boy? Ohio. That explains it. Gemini versus Jiminy. Antecedently on this day in 1980, an explosive device is detonated at the Statue of Liberty. The FBI suspects Croatian nationalists. Tony Kukoc and the boys getting involved in a little bit of anti-Americanism. I never even heard of this. I don't know this happened. Do you guys remember this happening? 1980? Probably not. Probably weren't born. I was barely born. I was young. Anyway, they tried to blow up the Statue of Liberty on this day in 1980. Hey, you lousy Croats. Maybe you should have targeted the 4th of July. That seems like it would have been more, I don't know, symbolic. But no, you idiots. Croats. Remember that when we all hated the Croats? No, me neither. Antecedently on this day in 2013, the trial of United States Army Private Chelsea Manning for leaking classified material to WikiLeaks begins. Chelsea Manning, is that the one that, what was Chelsea Manning? Was Chelsea Manning a chick and then she became a dude, or was Chelsea Manning a dude who became a chick? I don't remember. She was like first gen trans in the public media. She was like, there was Caitlyn Jenner, but then there was her also. And now there's a lot. There's now, but back then. And I don't remember what she did. What'd she do? She gave secrets? WikiLeaks? That's confusing. I don't even know what's going on with WikiLeaks. I've just put that in the rearview mirror of my personal history. I didn't learn about it then. It's all confusing now. But her, Chelsea Manning, all I know, her, him, whatever. All I know is that was part of the story, was that this person was being accused of being a spy. And, oh, yeah, also, if you didn't hate him for being a spy, America, look, they're one of them weird trans people. Not my take. I'm just talking about the narrative that was kind of put out at the time because it was still shocking, the whole trans thing. Moving on, antecedently on this day in 2017, London Bridge attack. I remember this. I remember watching this live on CNN. This was in my deeply depressive years. 2017, a bunch of Muslim terrorists, they drove a car on the London Bridge, a place that I think I'd been. I don't know. There's a lot of bridges in London. I don't know if I was. I'm just going to say I was. Bridges. I mean, I think I was, maybe. I was on a bridge in London, and it seemed to be centrally located, so we're going to call that London Bridge. Dudes were in cars on a bridge and they started ramming people down, and then like a bunch of civilians like chased after them, and the car got stuck, and so they jumped out of the car, and then they ran into like this touristy district and just started stabbing people. That was on this day in 2017, the London Bridge attack. All right, that's enough. Let's move into birthdays. Let's decide if people are cool or not. These are people claiming to have birthdays on this day. Born on this day in 1864. I just mentioned this guy because it's a funny name and so perfect. Born on this day in 1864, Ransom E. Olds is born. Ransom E. Olds. You know who Ransom Olds? First of all, that's a badass name. That could be like a blues singer name or something. I don't know. Ransom Olds. Ransom is your first name. Did ransom not always mean what it means today? Like, that doesn't sound like a name you'd give to a baby. Not saying we want anybody to kidnap this ugly child, but we named him Ransom. You know, why are you naming your child Ransom? He's Oldsmobile. He's the guy who invented Oldsmobile. His name is Olds. So he made the Oldsmobile, and for my entire life, the Oldsmobile was a car for the Olds people. Is that why Oldsmobile is out of business? Just bad branding? Because it just seemed, if you had an Oldsmobile, it was, or wait, they had like one little hiccup where they had a cool car, the Cutlass, right? Isn't that a Cutlass? Cutlass is an Oldsmobile, was. Yeah, the Cutlass was kind of a cool car. All right, moving on. Happy birthday. Born on this day, Ransom E. Olds. Cool ass name, dude. Born on this day in 1925, Tony Curtis. Tony Curtis got hair. Tony Curtis is Jamie Lee Curtis's dad. Tony Curtis is one of the legendary swordsmen of Hollywood, if you know what I mean. Born on this day in 1929, happy birthday, Chuck Barris of The Gong Show. Chuck Barris, he wrote a book about his secret life as a CIA spy, and it was a total joke. Most people thought it was real. Chuck Barris was a fun, wild, imaginative guy. Born on this day in 1942, here's another legend, a true icon. Southside, say it loud, say it proud, super proud. Oh, man. It's Curtis Mayfield's birthday. The gentle genius, of course, long before Curtis Mayfield was electrifying soul, funk, and rock stadiums around the world. He was a member, along with Jerry Butler, of the Impressions, one of the great black soul doo-wop groups of the 1960s. What did the Impressions do? What's up? People get ready. Train on. Curtis Mayfield went into the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, as a member of the Impressions, and then had a really important career as a soul singer, soul guitar player, one of the most underappreciated guitar players in the world. Everybody says he's one of the best there's ever been, but people don't often talk about it, and you don't hear it a lot. But Curtis Mayfield, born on this day, 1942, Superfly, probably his most famous work. Also, had a crazy thing happen to him in the 90s. He was performing, I think, in like Brooklyn or Queens or something during a rainstorm, and a light tower fell. You know, the big giant light towers. Light tower fell and crushed him, paralyzed him for like the last 10 years of his life. That's probably what contributed to his death, because he didn't die an old man. But Curtis Mayfield, a true legend, a guy. Born on this day in 1951, happy birthday to the First Lady of these here United States, the lovely Miss Jill Biden. What? He called her lovely. What do you mean? How come he's not calling the First Lady a dirty whore? Because she's a First Lady. She seems like a nice lady. She's a First Lady. She married a dude. You want to hate the guy for the pop fines? She's a First Lady. You people suck who just start trashing people for who they marry. Stop it. She's a nice lady. And you know what else? She seems like a nice lady. All the First Ladies seem like nice ladies, except for Melania. I know you're going to be like, Pugs, why all of a sudden? Because she seems mean. Because she's got a mean look on her face. Laura Bush, she was lovely. Barbara Bush, she was lovely. All right, Hillary, all right. I got you with Hillary. You know, you got me there. People hate Michelle Obama. She seemed lovely. Laura Bush seemed lovely. These First Ladies are fine. Leave them alone. Unless they get mouthy. Unless they get mouthy like Hillary, or just look like man-eaters like Melania. Other than that, man, let's just leave the First Ladies alone. All right. Born on this day in 1967. This is the last one we'll do, because apparently Gen X contributed very little, and millennials very little so far as being born on this day. Born on this day in 1967, Anderson Cooper. AC360. What's the programming on him? But I always talk about, like, there are certain people out there we have programming on. Like, some of them are just strictly political programming, like, Tucker. Some people will be like, Tucker's the worst. And it's like, that's political programming. I mean, he might be, but, still. Joe Buck is somebody. Whenever Joe Buck calls a football game, Joe Buck is the worst. No, he's not. He's not the worst. Joe Buck is fine. What do we think about Anderson Cooper? I mean, look, there's a lot of boxes to check for me personally, like things that I would think I wouldn't like him about. Like, he's a rich kid. He's a Vanderbilt. So boom, check that. Silver spoon bitch, New York raised, snooty, that whole thing. Seems a little elitist, right? But he's a Vanderbilt. We already checked that. But I don't know. I could never muster up the hatred for Anderson Cooper. A lot of people are like, I hate that guy. I'm just so meh on Anderson Cooper. Happy birthday, AC360. I don't know. I don't know. What do you do? Do I not watch it? Maybe if I, consumed other alternative news sources, I'd have all kinds of dirt on Anderson Cooper. It's not like he's Don Lemon. That guy, I don't like Don Lemon. I think I've made that point clear over the years. All right, let's keep going. Let's move. Deads. Let's talk about people who died on this day. This is quarter 3. These are the deads. People who passed on this day. Let's find out by investigating their lives a little, where they went, heaven or hell. Dead on this day in 2009, David Carradine, American actor, 1936, David Carradine. David Carradine was in Kung Fu. Was he also Kill Bill? I don't know. There's a whole mess of Carradines. I think Keith Carradine is the one I like. I think Keith Carradine is cool. Is there a Glenn? There a Glenn Carradine, a Bob Carradine? I don't know how many Carradines there are. I think David is like the original, the Kung Fu Carradine. I think he was. Well, actually, wait. Wasn't their father? Aren't the Carradine boys like a second generation? Aren't they nepo babies? Wasn't there like a Virgil Carradine, like their dad or something, who was an actor in the 50s? I don't know. Whatever. David Carradine died jerking off. There you go. I said it. I buried the lead. But that's really what everybody was like when I said David Carradine died on this day. All of you were like, is he the one who died jerking off? Yeah, he did. He did. To make things worse, he died jerking off in Cambodia, which is like... Maybe it wasn't Cambodia. Maybe it was Thailand. It was one of them places. You know what I mean when I say one of them places. And so, I remember reading up on this story, and I'm like, well, maybe it was just suicide. So he was found in his hotel room at the Swiss Hotel. Very fine luxury hotel brand. Swiss Hotel. He was found in the Hanoi. I don't know. Again, it was somewhere in that part of the world. He was found in the Swiss Hotel, and he was found hanging, and he was naked. And, immediately you're like, okay, all right, this was probably suicide. And, he's the Kung Fu dude. So he's probably got some whole organic thing about how he wants to pass through to the next world. And maybe he wants to be naked and, hippie David Carradine and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, maybe it was just, it was that. He intended to commit suicide, and that's the being naked wasn't sexual so much as it was a spiritual choice that he had made in this moment. Then I read on, and he had a noose tied around his dick. So I can't defend it. I don't know where to go from there. It's like, yeah, no, he was jerking off. He was doing some weird stuff. That autoerotic asphyxiation. I think they also say Michael Hutchence died that way. I don't like sex so much that I'm going to risk it. That's not something like, are dudes who really like sex? Like if they tried that, is that like a thing? I don't know. Anyway, David Carradine, I'm going to surprise you. Putting him in heaven. There's nothing wrong with the way he went out. It was an accident. Humiliating way. He was cool as Kill Bill. I'm putting him in heaven. Why not? It's not like I think he's going to be hanging out on street corners in heaven jerking off. I mean, the guy was in a hotel room. He was private. It was his own thing. Leave him alone. David Carradine goes to heaven. Dead on this day also in 2009. She did not die while masturbating. Coco Taylor, the Queen of the Blues. Wang, dang, I loved Coco Taylor. I got to know Coco Taylor. I've told this story a bunch of times. I got to drive the Queen of Soul, like an hour and a half through rush hour traffic out to a radio remote. Oh, she was so sweet. She's in heaven. You better damn well believe Coco Taylor, the Queen of the Blues. Dead on this day in 2009. She's in heaven. Dead on this day in 2010. This is troubling to me. And I'm going to be open-minded about this one because one of the rules that we have is we put actresses, whenever an actress dies, immediately they're leaning towards hell. Unless there are some extenuating circumstances that show that they were a terrific person otherwise, like an Audrey Hepburn, who was like an ambassador for sick kids for like 50 years. She did a lot of good stuff. So unless there are extenuating circumstances, they almost always go to hell. Now, to what degree a circumstance could become extenuating, I don't know. We got to figure that one out because on this day in 2010, Rue McClanahan died. She was an American actress, which would mean she goes to hell. But she was a Golden Girl. And I fully acknowledge that although it didn't impact on me, that the Golden Girls have a big impact on an entire generation of kids. So look, for my millennium friends, I'm going to put a Golden Girl in heaven. There you go. Why not? She was a golden. People love Golden Girl. Not me. Golden Girls, I was just bad age. Bad age for me with Golden Girls. I think Golden Girls aired between like me being 19 and maybe 29. So like at no point between 19 and it aired on a Saturday night. I wasn't staying in on Saturday night during that period. And also it was old people. It was a show for old. Oh, by the way, that's my theory on millennials. Why millennials like Golden Girls so much. And it's not because they actually chose to like it. It's because it's all they had to watch and they were home. Because me, I was Gen X. Golden Girls was on. I was going out on Friday and Saturday nights. I was working in bars. I was doing all that. But millennials who were like, 10 years, 5 years, whatever, younger than me, they were still home on Saturday night watching what mom or dad or grandma or grandpa wanted to watch. So I think that's why millennials have such an affinity for Golden Girls. They were forced to watch it. It's no different than me and Maude. I watched Maude because my grandma watched Maude and my grandma took care of me on Saturday nights. So I'm a fan of Maude. So I guess there you have it. And then there's Maude. Then there's Maude. Maude was also a Golden Girl. Who goes to heaven? B. Arthur. But B. Arthur gets put in heaven for me, not because of Golden Girls, but because of Maude. Because of Maude. Yeah, I'm old. Dead on this day in 2011. Here's another controversial one. Dead on this day in 2011. Jack Kevorkian. Dr. Death. Woo! Do you believe brand narratives? I don't. Certainly not. Certainly not mid-90s religious-based narratives. Jack Kevorkian was a good man. That's right. He was a good man. He was providing a service for people who were in intense pain, who had no hope of survival, who were basically facing 6 months of withering. That's what it was. That now, how you feel about Jack Kevorkian is entirely based about how you feel about liberty and one's own personal liberty. I think that is, I believe in the law of supreme liberty, which is, sorry to say it, I'm going to say it as a guy, my body, my choice. This body, this is the only true thing that we all own, this life, this existence. It's the only thing that if you believe in a concept of liberty, that we have the ultimate say-so over. So if somebody comes to me, a doctor preferably, if a bartender says this to me, I'm going to tell him to shut up. But if a doctor comes to me and says, you've got 6 months to live, and let me tell you, it's going to be downhill starting in about 2 weeks, I want to go. Maybe I don't want to go, but you know what I want? I want to be able to make that choice. And for a lot of people, Jack Kevorkian provided that choice. And I think Jack Kevorkian's a hero. He's going to heaven. Oh, but he enjoyed it. Oh, fuck you. You don't know that. He enjoyed it. You know what? I hope he did. I hope he did enjoy giving people an immense pain peace. I hope he did. He wasn't a monster. You have to choose to go out with dignity and with the way you want, not wasting away in a terrible, terrible state. What's going on with the TV? All right, moving on. Jack Kevorkian, I'm putting him in heaven. Controversially, I understand. Oh, man. As a man, my body, my choice. If it's over with, I want to have at least the choice to take me out. Dead on this day in 2016. Here's a real big one. I'm going to preemptively put this dude in heaven. No! Put this dude in heaven. Just because I'm Gen X and, ladies and gentlemen, dead on this day in 2016, the great Ali. It's only one, Ali. When you were 10 years old in the mid to late 70s, early 80s, and someone said Ali, you knew who they were talking about. Now we got a bunch of them. They're all terrorists and stuff. So half of them were involved in 9/11. I don't know. But Muhammad Ali, he was our guy. Man, we had real men. Gen X, we had role models. Not like today, Caleb Williams painting his fingernails. No, we had real men. We had role models. We had Muhammad Ali. We had Evel Knievel. We had Bruce Jenner. Oh, see what I did there? Love that joke. So when you look at the Gen X, examples of real men, though, that's true. That is true. Muhammad Ali, he was a man. Evel Knievel, reckless, daredevil. All the ladies wanted him. Sexy. Elvis jumpsuit without doing all the, performative theater stuff that Elvis did. You could be Evel Knievel. You could still wear the crazy outfit and get chicks. Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner was for an entire generation. He was the emblem of American masculine athletic superiority. That's what he was. No wonder this country's so screwed up. We don't know anything. We don't know who's coming. We don't know who's going. Frank Smith says Captain America, Roger Staubach. Well, maybe for you kids growing up down here, but I can tell you, Roger Staubach was evil to the rest of us. We didn't see the Dallas Cowboys as the heroes that I think the rest of the Dallas, and actually that's just it. We hated the Cowboys. The whole country hated the Cowboys and loved the Cowboys. It was a strange branding mix. Yeah, but respect, because you were good. All right, dead on this day in 2016, Muhammad Ali, we're putting him in heaven because of what he meant. There's a lot of people like him. Dead on this day in 2021, he is going to hell. He is not only a famous attorney, but he is a famous D-bag. Dead on this day in 2021, part of the dream team he was, F. Lee Bailey. Who did F. Lee Bailey represent? I think he represented... He represented the guy that the Fugitive movie was made of. You remember the Fugitive with Harrison Ford? That was like a real story. But I think the names were changed. Dr. Richard, whatever. But that was a real case, like in Ohio in like the 1960s. Turned it into a TV show, then they turned it into a movie. Anyway, point is this. I think that's how F. Lee Bailey got famous. I think he was that dude. And then I think he also defended Patty Hearst. I also think, is he one of these guys? There are a lot of people, there are a lot of attorneys who are famous, like the most famous attorneys. And they're famous for like losing. Like they always seem to lose. Like who's the one guy? There's one guy that just loses all the time. He wasn't a part of the dream team. Who is he? He was like Michael Jackson's guy. He was Winona Ryder's guy. He's like the celebrity, and he loses all the time. And it's like, why is he still getting work? Anyway, moving on. F. Lee Bailey, he's a son of a bitch, and he died on this day. All right, there you have it. That's going to be it for the first three quarters. It's time for us to now move seamlessly into the fourth quarter, which is the hot topics. Before we do, would like to thank our executive producers of today's show, Leslie C. and Christina P. They both dropped over the weekend. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. It is your tips that keep this show going. And to that end, we are in Pledge Week. That means this week, every show needs to make at least $50. We need to raise $300 by the end of the show on Friday. So let's see if we can get there. Help us out. Who's going to pay for this show? We'll do it that way. Anybody pay for this show? We'll see. We'll keep a running tab. So if we get there early, good. If not, I'll be a mess by Friday. All right, let's get into the hot topics, all the things that are happening in the world today. But most urgently, let's talk about what's going on here, okay, in North Texas, where, man, this weather, am I right? I mean, what is this? Yesterday, we got another like crazy ass horrible storm yesterday that lasted for about 45 minutes at dinner time, 6 o'clock on a Sunday. Thought the whole world was ending. Tornado sirens going off all over, although they told us on TV, these are not tornado sirens. These are just severe thunderstorm warnings. Do we have another one that's possibly coming through today? I don't know. It's awful. But here's what went nuts. So isn't this just the luck? So my buddies, the E's, my buddy E, they were he had a horse running at Churchill Downs. So the whole family went out there to Churchill Downs, and I picked them up at the airport last night. Now they were supposed to land here in DFW from Louisville. And by the way, I'm here. I'm like a mile from Love Field, but this was at DFW, so it was a bit more of a complicated journey, although not terribly far. Their flight was supposed to land just as like everything was going ape shit here. So of course their flights get delayed, and they were supposed to land at 6. They ended up not landing till like 11:30, and oh my God, they were stuck in Little Rock. Air traffic was screwed up. And then at like 11:30, I get to the airport to pick them up, and it is an absolute, I mean, it's like the evacuation of Hanoi. It was crazy, this airport, because all of the planes that have been backed up due to the storm that had come through at dinner time yesterday, they were all playing catch up. So 11:30 at night, the airport, it was like Christmas Day. Or I guess Christmas Day wouldn't be bad. It was like the day after Christmas. I don't know, whenever the bad travel day is. It was awful. Weather was awful. So I don't know what else is going on weather-wise. I think we got more storms supposed to be coming through today, but that one that came through, by the way, I watched the weather because I'm so angry that it's never right. That one that came through yesterday at 6 o'clock, they didn't have that. They didn't have that one that came through at 6 o'clock until about 4:30. And around 4:30, they're like, we got a storm coming. I'm like, yeah, well, all day long, you've been saying that there's not going to be a storm because I was watching because I knew I had a plane coming in. And then all of a sudden, boom, we got this horrible storm. People lost power. Speaking of, which is the top story, there are people here that still don't have power. There are people in North Texas, the DFW Metroplex, who lost power last Tuesday morning, who still do not have power. I lost power for like a day and a half. And it was awful. And I thought I was going to die. That was my best Rosanna Dan impression. Hold on. What? Why does that happen? Do you ever notice when you drop something, it just like falls into this vortex? It's never just, if it drops, it never just drops straight down where you can reach down and grab it. It like drops, it rolls, it bounces. I just dropped the remote and I have no idea where it is now. Hold on. No, dog, I don't need your help, but thank you. It's the other thing with this dog. You got to keep the remotes hidden. She thinks they're bones. She just starts chewing on remotes. She has destroyed more remotes. Got to stay frosty. All right, so let's look at this. According to NBC DFW just a couple of hours ago. Really? Dog? Really? Dog? Oh, see what she's doing? And so you're just going to lay there. The dog just knocked over this thing, which is just a stand. All right, let's read the story about the power outages. 30,000, I think they're saying there are still 30,000 people in Dallas County. Hold on, let me get to you. We'll get to the exact stats. Oh, you know what? Here, let's watch this. This actually, it turns out this is just a, all right, yeah, local news story on it. Let's watch it. I haven't seen it, so. Hold on. This comes to us from NBC DFW. All right, good. We'll watch that. Sorry, I didn't mean for this to be so clunky, but I'd forgotten.
County as energy crews already had their hands full trying to restore power. A new round of storms last night has even more customers without power in Dallas County as energy crews already had their hands full trying to restore power from last Tuesday's storms.
Indeed, yeah, some people have been without power going on for 6 days now. NBC5's Alana Crone is live in Dallas for us to talk about the latest on the efforts to get the lights back on. Alana, good morning.
Good morning, and it has been a wild week of weather. You know, Encore crews actually were getting a lot of people out of the dark just last night before that next round of storms moved through, unfortunately. But even just this morning, there has been huge improvements in the amount of people that are getting power restored. Numbers right now, just around 3,000 customers still in the dark in Dallas County. Denton County is now down to just over 100 outages. Still around 700 are in the dark in Collin County and about 300 in Tarrant County. Again, these numbers are huge improvements from.
Okay, that's all we need. Those numbers are unacceptable in 2024. This was not some catastrophic attack of a swarm of tornadoes. This was just a storm with like 80-mile-per-hour winds. It's been a week. I couldn't imagine a week of no power. I went a day and a half, and it was awful. Holy cow. There's got to be a better way to deliver power. There's got to be a better way. I'm sure there is. It's just that we use a way based on technology that's 100 years old. Why? Because it's always been financially imprudent to just make the big change. You know, that's what happens with technology. We come up with entirely new ways of doing something that's been done a certain way, and we don't do it because it costs too much money to just make the change. Well, we can't afford a loss for 2 years while we all switch off. That's been the problem that we see with the electric car. Most people would argue that the electric car is probably a better idea. Well, we can't do it because it would mean that a whole bunch of regular combustion car companies would have to entirely change their business model. I mean, there's a lot of examples of it, but there's got to be a better way than just plugs in the wall. We can't do wireless charging. That can't be a thing. There can't be I don't know. I'm not smart is my point, but there are people who are smart. Probably have better ways of doing this. Because there are lines up on giant poles like it's old-timey days. That shouldn't be a thing anymore. We shouldn't have power lines like that. It's like an old-timey thing. Anyway, people still don't have power. Unbelievable. All right, Mexico's got a new president. She's a Jewish lady. Her name is I don't know, Shelley Scheinbaum, something like that. Mexico's got a new president. Her name is Claudia Scheinbaum. That's not a Mexican president's name. Here's the thing. She's cute. She's really cute. She's a scientist. She's a leftist. So you know she's interesting at a dinner party. She's former mayor of Mexico City. So she's got some legislative cred because we all know how wonderfully Mexico City is run. Actually, I don't know how wonderful. I think Mexico City is like a really bad place, right? I don't know. Point is this. I would like to date Claudia Scheinbaum, and I'm throwing it out there right now. Here's what it says. Mexico City, Claudia Scheinbaum, who will be Mexico's first woman leader in the nation's more than 200 years of independence. She captured the presidency by promising continuity. The 61-year-old former Mexico City mayor and lifelong leftist ran a disciplined campaign capitalizing on her predecessor's popularity before emerging victorious in Sunday's vote. According to an official quick count, I guess that's but with her victory now in hand, Mexicans will... Isn't that racist? We can't call them Mexican. Oh, I guess in this context you can, because just simply putting letters together and saying a word doesn't make the use of the word racist. Mexicans will look to see how Scheinbaum, a very different personality from mentor and current president Andrés Manuel López Obrador. She's different. But he's her mentor. Here, let's get a look at her. What's got Pugs' attention? Because, I don't care about politics. I just want to date the president of Mexico. I just think she's kind of cute. She's 61. Look at me. She's much older. Look at me, willing to date a much older woman. Here she is. She's got a big smile. She's got a big, nice smile. She's 61. Scheinbaum. She's Jewish. That's not a thing. There are no Mexican Jewish people. And they made one president. Look, there she is there. She's waving to people. They like her. I don't know what her deal is. There she is. She's painted her on the side of a bus. Oh my God. That happens before they're going to kill her is kind of my point. I think probably because I don't know. Just seems like those are the sort of things that happen. Here's what I want to have happen. I want like I imagine the president of Mexico's probably got a pretty cool Mexico City penthouse. So I just want to date her, right? We'll be in a relationship and she'll be down there at the Mexico. Where's the capital? Where are we living? Are we living in Mexico City? Is that where the capital is? Is that where the president is? Okay, so she's down. She's doing her legislative stuff. She's being a president. She's standing on milk crates going, the people will, she's doing all that kind of stuff. And then I'm back at the penthouse, in sweatpants. In a t-shirt, a White Sox t-shirt and sweatpants, and I'm watching TV, but it's all in Mexican. So I'm getting kind of, because I didn't bother to learn English. I assume she speaks English. I assume language isn't going to be a hurdle for me. She's president of Mexico. She's got to speak English. She's probably really smart. Anyway, that's my dream. So if anyone out there knows Claudia Scheinbaum, the new president-elect of Mexico, you let them know. You let her know that I'm looking for a place to crash, and I'm fun. I'm fun to be around. I am great. Here's all she needs. Do you think she doesn't need somebody who's going to challenge her for power? That ain't me. I ain't going to challenge her for power. She wants to go be president of Mexico. She can be president of Mexico. Here's where I shine. Dinner parties. So good. I'm so good at dinner parties. People, I'm always the hit. I can talk to anybody. I can tell jokes. Oh, I keep it moving. And here's my most important dinner party skill. When I see shit going off the rails, I'm a great referee. I get involved. I guide us back onto a nice path. What else does the new president of Mexico need in a boy toy? I'm younger, right? It'll be like, who's the president of Mexico's boy toy? Okay, I know at this point I'm getting a little bit fantastic, but... Oh, you can't see her? You guys couldn't see her? All right, here you go. Well, I'll show her to you. Now you can't see me. How you like them apples? Hold on. Boom. I thought I showed her. Okay. Yeah, here we go. So you couldn't see. So I did my whole rant about how I've got a crush on. Well, that's good. Now you can see her. Now you know who I'm all. Look at her. Look at her. There she is. There's my girl. Boom. They're doing everything. Boom. There she is. Look at her. I'm never going to question her political decisions because I don't care. I can run her household, not run, but I mean, I'll insert myself as like the boss of the house when she's not there. So, and they'll all hate me, which is their loss because I'm very nice. I think they just would see me as like an interloper American gringo who's just whatever. They've never seen my work at a dinner party and they can say what they want. All right. New president of Mexico. They got a Mexican lady. She's Jewish. I don't even know that she's Jewish. Is it racist of me to see the name Scheinbaum and go, you know what? In my life, in my experience of being around a lot of Jewish people and working closely with them, that's a name that resembles quite closely the names of a number of Jewish people I know. So is she Jewish? Why are you being anti-Semitic? I'm not. I'm being curious. Being curious. What else do we got here? All right, here we go. This one sucks. Larry Allen is dead. Larry Allen died. The great Larry Allen. So Larry Allen, I met Larry Allen a couple of times. None of them, I mean, never had a connection with Larry Allen. It's never nice around Larry Allen. Larry Allen was a big, scary, quiet guy who didn't seem to be in a good mood anytime I was around him. Got into a elevator with him the first time I met Larry Allen. We were covering Larry Allen, Hall of Fame, probably, I don't know. He's in the conversation for 5 greatest offensive linemen in my lifetime. First time I met him was at Cowboys training camp. I want to say 2002, maybe. It was still down in San Antonio, and me and Sybil got into an elevator. The elevator was closing, and Sybil, being the hyper little bunny that she is, she goes running for it. Wait, and she sticks her hand in there, and the door opens up, and I come strolling behind her, and we get in the elevator, and it's me, Sybil, and Larry Allen, big giant Larry Allen, and he didn't like that Sybil did that. He didn't say anything, but Sybil looked at him and she goes, you're Larry Allen. I'm Sybil. I'm with 105.3. And she did her whole producer pitch to him, and he just glared at her. And it was, and then the door opened. He got out. And I remember saying, nice to meet you, Larry. He didn't really say anything. The next time I met him was at a charity function. We were seated at the same table, and although he was fairly friendly with the people around him, he didn't really branch out of that group. He may have been shy. I don't know. I also have a situation with Larry Allen where I think we might have dated the same girl, which could not have been good for me in any kind of sexual. My girlfriend of a long time, a girl I dated for a long time, had a strange relationship with Larry Allen and Charles Haley, and she was very familiar with the old White House. If you know what the White House in Cowboys lore is, the White House was a house in Arlington that I guess the Cowboy players purchased together to be their secret party house where all kinds of crazy stuff happened. And anyway, Yeah, so this girl I dated, she was like really good friends with him, and I never asked any questions, but it just sounded to me like they hung out a lot back in the 90s. Okay, can't take that. That's spam call. I'm getting so tired of these political calls. Larry Allen was on vacation with his family. He was in Mexico, and that's all we know at this moment. Let me see what is... Actually, you know what? Let's check this out. What was Larry Allen known for? Larry Allen was known for his strength and for his power. This dude, strongest man in NFL history, quite possibly. You ever seen a guy lift 700 pounds on a bench press? I'm talking about a deadlift. Hold on, check this out. Here's a little video on the great Larry Allen back when he was a Cowboy. Again, I don't think it can be debated that he is in the conversation for one of the greatest offensive linemen in the history of NFL football. Here you go. Here's a little on the late, great Larry Allen, who passed away yesterday.
Never seen a guy bench press 705 pounds. I was there the day he did it. I would have never thought a guy could naturally lift that type of weight, man.
Man, if I had 6 legs, I probably couldn't squat that.
All right, there you have it. Larry Allen, dead at only 52 years old. Dallas Cowboys Hall of Fame offensive lineman Larry Allen died suddenly Sunday while on vacation with his family in Mexico. He was 52 years old. Larry, known for his great athleticism and incredible strength, was one of the most respected, accomplished offensive linemen to ever play in the NFL. His versatility and dependability were also signature parts of his career. Through that, he continued to serve as inspiration for many other players. Larry could also party. I don't know that a lot of that is going to be mentioned today, but Larry's a legend. Larry enjoyed a good time. He enjoyed his days with the Cowboys. He ran this town. Larry Allen, boy, I'll tell you. Interesting story, too, on him. His background is he did not have a traditional path to the NFL. He was not one of these highly touted first round, high pick, can't miss generational offensive lineman, which we know he turned out to be. He was a forgotten Division II Sonoma College kid. He didn't graduate from high school. He went to high school all over California. I want to say he was originally from South Central. But he went to like a different high school every year. His family life was awful. He didn't graduate high school because he quit his senior year after the football season. Ended up enrolling at a junior college and then went from that junior college to like Division II or Division III Sonoma College, which I guess was sort of a receptacle for troubled players with high upside, and he shined there. He got picked in the second round, and look at this. Larry Allen would go on to be probably one of the most dominant. Man, the Cowboys had Eric Williams, Remember Flozell Adams? There's been some pretty good offensive linemen in the history of the Dallas Cowboys, but is there anyone better than Larry Allen? I don't think so. Here, let's take a look at a little bit more Larry Allen tape, shall we? What is this? This is some tape from YouTube. These are Larry Allen's. What are these? His top plays, something like that. Let's watch a little bit of that. All right, here we go. So what is this? This is the 100 greatest players in NFL history. The 100 greatest players in NFL history. Larry Allen coming in at number 95. A lineman makes one of the 100 greatest players in NFL history. Let's be reminded of the greatness of Larry Allen, who died yesterday at the age of 52.
Number 95 on the top 100 greatest players.
Say hi to my mom and dad, wife.
Nice guy. But when he come on that field, Larry said he had a job to do. And his job was to go through you. Larry bench press 692 pounds.
The strongest man.
I still remember that. 692 pounds. When a man can bench press 692 pounds, that man can launch you. It's like going against a bear, man. I mean, he's just humongous. Man, he'll grab you, pick you up, and start laughing. And there's nothing you can do. It's like going against a car. You're trying to stop him, you're just sliding. I've seen him take linebackers, just drop him 20 yards. Not 5, not 10, 20 yards. And you go back in the huddle, and that linebacker looking at you going, what am I supposed to do? Do the best you can. Do the best you can.
Everybody want to test themselves against Larry Allen. Come on. Bad man. Bad man. He's accountable.
In 1994, after 9 offensive linemen had already been drafted, the Cowboys selected guard Larry Allen from Sonoma State. He would never be overlooked again. Allen protected Hall of Famer Troy Aikman and led the way for the NFL's all-time leading rusher, Emmitt Smith.
Oh, look at that hole. Touchdown, Cowboys.
You got a guy like Larry Allen in front of you, he was like a wall. I mean, like a stump. You couldn't move it. He was very patient, and he never made a lot of mistakes. You weren't going to have guys just run up in there going, yeah, I'm going to bullet rush Larry Allen. You never hear anybody say that. Did you bullet rush him? Oh, that never came in my mind, bullet rushing Larry. No, you didn't bullet rush Larry.
No one teased the opposition better than John Randall did.
Hey, Charlie! Ray Brown! JJ!
All right, we don't need to get into a whole John Randall thing. Very sad. Larry Allen passed away. Got to imagine it's going to be heart related. He was a very large man. I saw Nate Newton earlier today on TV. Do you remember Nate Newton when he played? God, man, what is he, Ozempic? Did he have the bypass? I know that he had some kind of surgery like years ago. But my God, Nate Newton, who used to be like 300 and how huge Nate Newton, offensive player. Now what is he? Like $175? Doesn't look right. I mean, he looks great. Nate Newton looks great. Good for him. But you got to believe that the Larry Allen thing's got to be heart related, right? Because man, oh man. Very sad day around these parts. Larry Allen dead at 52 years old. What else do we have here? Stormy Daniels is making the rounds. I saw on Peacock that Stormy Daniels documentary is there. I hovered over it for a second and then I went, nope, not interested. Not interested. Stormy Daniels is making the rounds. She's talking all kinds of stuff. She's like challenging Melania to leave him, saying that she was slut shamed. And I don't know. I don't think you can be slut shamed if you don't have any shame concerning your sexual lifestyle. If you're okay, like this, and by the way, this isn't specific to the Stormy Daniels situation, but just whenever like somebody's like, she slut shamed me, I'm I'm like, well, then you must think you're a slut. Because if you think that your actions are perfectly fine and you're living your life and you're having fun and you're in charge of your sexual decisions, and somebody comes around and says, you should be ashamed of that. Well, you don't have to be ashamed of that. If you're comfortable with it, if it's your life, they can't slut shame you. I mean, Stormy Daniels has never before struck me as someone who seemed to exhibit any shame over her choices. You know, she came from pretty meager beginnings, I guess. I know it was all I was able to get from the few seconds I hovered over the documentary. She came from meager beginning. You know, I saw that and I'm like, oh, yeah, that figures. A lot of women who turn to the adult film industry, well, you know, they're not Vassar grads. A lot of women who turn to that industry for lack of options elsewhere. That's all. Their daddy doesn't sit on the board of a whole bunch of companies. You know, that's why they do it. And if you're okay with that and you don't think that sex is evil or sinful or anything like that, hell, fine. You do what you got to do. It's hard to make it in this world. So Stormy Daniels going around now saying that I was slut shamed. Again, I turn it back on her and I say, well, then you must think you're a slut, because you can't be shamed if you don't buy into the context of what you're being accused of. Stormy Daniels talking to anybody. Here's a piece of video. This was there was an air show crash. I think this was in Portugalese. Where is that? Europe. I'm gonna say Europe. Like if I was on like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or something, and they're like, Portugal, where is it? I'd be like, Europe? I think it's in Europe. Could be South America. What, isn't there a thing that begins with a P in South America Paraguay? Yeah, Paraguay. What a random country that is, huh? And it's in our own hemisphere. What's going on with Paraguay? Anyway, it's not Portugal. Portugal is over in Spain. we got an air show crash. Two planes clipped each other. Let's watch this because this is horrifying. And why not? Why shouldn't I put this out into the world? All right, here we go. We'll get back to the beginning. We'll watch it a couple of times because, again, it's horrifying. And why not put this out into the world? Here you go. This is first of all, I'm not going to any other country. I don't even. Can I tell you about air shows? I love air shows, but I grew up in Chicago and I love the Chicago Air Show. You know, I love the Chicago Air Show because it all takes place over the lake. See, we all gather on the beach of the lake. We look over the water and we see all these planes doing crazy shit. I don't get these air shows that occur with people on picnic blankets, you know, underneath going, look, no, they do seem to do that a lot in Europe. That doesn't seem to be the case here. But anyway, let's watch. Here's an air show disaster. And let's check this out. Oh, no.
Ah, bateram.
Oh, no.
No. Ay.
Oh. All right, this is the moment. I think it's this guy right here caused all the fuss. Now people are dead. He kind of, for a second, he did okay. And now it ain't good for him. He's right here. He's going down fast. He's going down so fast that he's going to beat this guy down.
No. Ay, no.
Okay. That is not fun. That's why you'll never catch me participating in an air show. It's why I won't even learn how to fly. If I learned how to fly, I might be tempted, and I don't think I'm cut out for that kind of thing. I'd be the one who accidentally clips a wing nope, not gonna do it. You ever seen like those things in films? Or are they in there a commercial Wasn't there a commercial where like the plane is going down and they're like, you're the only one. Can you land a plane if you have to? I'm telling you, I can't. I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy. You're going to be shouting instructions at me, and I'm going to have these multiple voices in my head, and I'm going to be confused. And then I'm going to overcompensate for that because I have, severe insecurity issues. And I'm going to be like, well, I can't let them know I'm confused. So then I'm going to do things overconfidently. And it's not going to be good. We're all going to die. Under no circumstances does anybody have a right to feel confident if I was trying to land a plane. No, it's not going to work out well. Let's talk about Caitlin Clark. Let's talk about women's basketball. Because a lot of people are. A lot of people are talking about women's basketball this weekend, and it ain't for those forced narrative reasons. That was the way it used to be, not in the era of Caitlin Clark. Look at me, your boy. Your boy is actually kind of interested in women's basketball now. I know that sounds crazy. But as long as they're going to do some things like what happened over the weekend, which is they're beating the shit out of Caitlin Clark. They are beating the garbage snot. Now, here's why I'm kind of interested in it. Because Caitlin Clark is playing in Indiana. She's playing for the Indianapolis Fever. I'm from Chicago. Indianapolis is like Waco. Waco is the Dallas. It's like right there. And you're like, yeah, there's not really much of a reason to go there. That's kind of how we feel about Indianapolis. So it's always been sort of a Indianapolis versus Chicago. They're kind of like, our idiot little cousins, hillbilly cousins. So and we had great rivalries with Indianapolis. Of course, the Bears lost to the Colts in the Super Bowl. And then there's the Jordan versus, the Pacers and Reggie and all that stuff. So, we've got great rivalries. And so why not? Now it looks like the Chicago Sky, who drafted Angel Reese, and the Fever in Indianapolis, who have Caitlin Clark. This is great. Let's get this rivalry between these two cities back up and running. It's going to be Caitlin Clark in Indianapolis versus Angel Reese. So anyway, these two teams played, the Sky and the Fever, over the weekend, and a member of the Sky hard fouled Caitlin Clark. Now, this isn't the first time this has happened this season. Caitlin Clark, she's being a rookie and all. Apparently, she's been banged around quite a bit. And there are a whole lot of people who are starting to literally call foul on this kind of treatment. So let's see what we're looking at here. By the way, the person who hard checked her, great name. Person's name is Kennedy Carter. Kennedy, not Kennedy, but take the K from Kennedy and replace it with a CH, and it's Kennedy. That is so awesome. Hey, if for nothing else, WNBA is introducing me to the idea that black girls also have incredibly creative names. It was always like the Key and Peele bit where they would do the football players, Magnonius Brickershams, stuff like that. No, these WNBA girls, they got cool names too. Like Kennedy Carter. All right, here's the, let's see if we can see this video. Do we have actually the video? Because I don't need the story. There's a story where a whole bunch of people are crying about stuff, but Kennedy. All right, yeah, good. This is just the video. So let's watch this. This is a big sports story this weekend. WNBA. Oh, everybody's talking about the WNBA story. Are people being mean to Caitlin Clark? Not Caitlin Collins. She's CNN. All right, here we go. Let's watch.
She has been terrific. Mabry doubled off to Carter. Her jumper is good. Kennedy Carter now with 12 points off the bench.
Okay, so apparently she pronounces it Kennedy. She just spells it with a CH. I am going to continue to call her Kennedy Carter because that's a cooler name than Kennedy Carter spelled with a CH.
And Clark.
There it is. All right, so let's watch that again. Here we go.
And Clark. And Clark.
Bit of a flop, but definitely a flagrant. I mean, she threw that.
And Clark.
Knocks him down.
I mean, that's clearly which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Kennedy Carter.
Of course it was unnecessary.
She has been terrific. Mabry doubled off to Carter. Her jumper is good. Kennedy Carter now with 12 points off.
I love it. I love it. You got all these pearl clutching snowflakes. That's what I call you. All these people going, that's just how stupid these chicks are. They don't understand that she's the meal ticket. Blah, 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 blah. They understand she's the meal ticket. They would never have done this to LeBron or to Kobe and I'm like, are you fucking nuts? First of all, tell me you don't know anything about NBA history without telling me you don't know anything about NBA history. Michael Jordan, the Detroit Pistons created an entire team to throw elbows at Michael Jordan's head his rookie year. Are you out of your mind? The bad boys in Detroit got that reputation by hard following Michael Jordan. He was completely frozen out by the likes of Isaiah Thomas and Magic Johnson. Now, that didn't last long. He and Magic would become good friends. But his rookie year, especially the famous stories about the All-Star game. So don't tell me that, like, these players don't know where here's what these players know. These players know that they're going to test her. Yeah, they got a lot of eyes on her, but she should have expected this. And you know what? She did. Her post-game analysis was, that's basketball. They're going to test me and they're going to pay. And they did. They paid. Do you know what she made? She made the free throw. She got a free throw. She canned it. She got fouled hard. She went to the line. She made a free throw for that foul. The Fever won by 1 point. That's basketball. You think they're going to take it easy on her? If the WNBA is going to win over people like me, they're going to have to be authentic. And that means a lot of people are jealous of Caitlin Clark, and they're going to knock her around. And we're going to see what she is. Does she have some Larry Bird in her? Does she have some Michael Jordan in her? Does she have Kobe? Come on. None of these players were just welcomed into the league. Wemby has been getting knocked around. This is normal. This is good. This is what the WNBA wants. Competitive, provocative, exciting basketball. Not, okay, I'm going to take a step back and allow the super child, the golden girl, to take shots, long jumpers from the corners. No. They're going to test her. They're going to make her earn it. And that is authentic sports. So all of these people, they don't understand where their bread is buttered. They do. They understand it. And they're going to iron sharpens iron, right? They're going to make her be the savior of this league, if at all it's possible. And I'm telling you, if this is a thing now, where people are going to be hard checking her and following her and knocking her, I'll watch some games. I'll check that shit out. Because that's competition. That's high-level, apex, emotional competition, and that's what we all sign up for when we become sports fans. My whole complaint about the WNBA is that in my mind, and I might be wrong about this, but in my mind's eye, it's not as exciting a league. Why? Because possibly it lacks that emotion. It lacks that grind. But especially for this thing to be happening between the Chicago WNBA team and the Indiana WNBA team. Two places that are geographically near each other that has a history of, people talking shit back and forth. That's really cool. That's exciting. Caitlin Clark is tough, and she's going to be fine. And she responded to that whole situation perfectly, without crying, without pearl clutching, without snowflaking. She basically said, yeah, bring it. And guess what? I'll remind you again, the free throw that she received for taking that foul would ultimately be the difference in the game. And her team won by 1 point. So stop feeling like she needs to be protected. Let her go out there and ball. Let the other players ball up against her as hard as they want. They don't hate her, but veterans want to test the new kid that's getting everything that the veterans never got before. The veterans want to make sure that she's deserving of these waters being parted for her in a way that it was never for anybody else. Is she a transformative player? Well, the veterans in the WNBA, they're going to test her, and they're going to see. And I think that's awesome. So stop complaining about it. It's sports. Girls shouldn't get special treatment. This is what we want from our men. This is what we should expect from our women as well. Competition breeds fury. All right, let's go. What else do we have? I'm still calling her Kennedy Carter, though, by the way. Kennedy. Jeff Ballard says, I'm just tired of the local news up here. Jeff is in Iowa, where they're going to carve her into a mountainside. If they had mountains in Iowa, she'd already be carved. They're trying to grow a mountain so they could carve her. Jeff says, I'm just tired of the local news up here having 2 to 3 stories a day about her. Yeah, she's good, but damn. Well, local interest, man. I get it. She seems cool, man. She seems like a cool chick. She seems like she's taking this well. She's not a bitch. You're not got crying. I mean, she's passionate and she's got fury and all that, but and this whole thing between her and Angel Reese, I mean, you guys realize they're friends, right? You guys realize that this is just all a national branding kind of thing. They're cool with each other. But go ahead. They'll play it up on the court. All right, here's another sad story. Can't believe this. You know me. Call me Johnny Lake Rat. I am an admiral in the Lake Louisville Yacht Rock Armada. That's right. My Yacht Rock Spotify playlist is better than anybody's. I won't get into that, but I know of what I speak when I go on about this next story. Sunday in Lake Louisville, Party Cove, West Lake Park. Whenever you see the location of the incident as West Lake Park in Louisville, you know that's Party Cove. That's Party Cove. West Lake Park is a park that is right there off the shore of Party Cove, the notorious place on Lake Louisville here in North Texas, where all the people go to party. Or, I mean, it's a great place to tie off. And if you want to go out there and you want to see craziness and you want to watch, it's great. Now, 20 years ago, I would go out there and we were partying. We were the partying idiots out there. Now we go out there with families. We got kids, floaties, jet skis. We tie off, far away from the nonsense. But we have a 12-year-old and 15-year-old boys, and I can tell you that from time to time they see girls drop their bikini tops, and that's okay. It's okay. We like Party Cove. There's a lot of interesting people. You can have a fun day at the lake. Just if you're our age and, you don't want to be in it. You want to be on the periphery. You want to be watching it. Here's really what you want to be. You want to be on the outside of Party Cove, and then you want to use the jet skis to be able to just like go through Party Cove and just watch people. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to kill a hot summer day in Texas. I love it. I'm blessed that I have a friend who affords us the opportunity to go out there. But there are a lot of idiots out there. And for 2 weekends in a row, 2 consecutive Sundays, Party Cove has had to have been closed down, West Lake Park evacuated because a helicopter needed to land because some idiot went off the boat and never resurfaced. 2 people have died in 2 consecutive weekends in Party Cove on Lake Louisville. Now, somebody, I was talking about this earlier, about the story from last week, and somebody said, isn't it the most dangerous lake in America? No, it's not. The most dangerous lake in America is some lake outside of Atlanta. But Lake Louisville is a pretty dangerous lake nonetheless. It's such a big lake. There are so many secretive little coves and places for people to tuck away. But here's the problem. This isn't a matter of drinking. Well, people can't be, they're drinking too much. No, that is not the problem. The problem is life jackets. You have to wear a life jacket. And that's the thing about Party Cove. You see these, frat bros out there, they want to show off their abs and shit. They're doing like double backflips off the bow of boats with no life jackets. I mean, I got a 15-year-old son, and he's, kind of teetering on that douchiness where it's like, Dad, I don't want to wear a life jacket. The older kids don't wear them. I can swim. That's how. Why? What do I need a life jacket for? I'm a good swimmer. Well, because you're doing backflips off the bow of the boat, and if you crack your head on the side and get knocked unconscious, I'd like to have a life jacket bring you to the surface. He doesn't understand that. 15-year-olds don't understand that. They don't look down the road. But anyway, that's the good thing about old Captain E. You're on his boat. You got a life jacket. That's the other thing. Life jackets are probably expensive, right? There's a lot of boats. You're like, we can get more people on the boat. And there's probably a ton of captains that have like 4 life jackets because, I don't know, what are they, $100 each? And that's probably a lot. He's got 4 life jackets. Then he's got 10 people on his boat. That's all right. We're partying. You know, that whole thing. That doesn't fly with Ole. You don't get on his boat without a life jacket. I mean, you want to take it off to eat or something, that's fine, but you're not moving around. You're not getting in the water. You get in the water, you got a life jacket on. Or at the very least, one of those giant tubey tube things. We got a whole bunch of those floaty tube things. Whole bunch of floatable devices that people can use. So they all attach to you in some way. So second week in a row, this is the 27-year-old male drowns in Lake Louisville. Probably just a cool dude, man, out there having a good time. And that's what I think happened. I think we learned last week's drowning was somebody who was swimming. They were at Westlake Park. They weren't on a boat per se. They may have been meeting friends who had a boat there. That person, it said that they swam out to chase a flotation device and got caught up in a rip current. Which, oh my God, that is no way. This one apparently dove off a boat and then didn't resurface. A swimmer is drowned in Lake Louisville on Saturday. Emergency crews were called to the area near Westlake Park around 5:45 p.m. for a man who jumped off a boat and never surfaced because he wasn't wearing a life jacket. The Louisville Fire Department dive team and game warden officers used sonar to search for the man. Sonar, we don't pop back up. The victim is said to be a 27-year-old. His name has not been released. It is the second drowning in Lake Louisville in less than a week. Oh, boy. All right, there you go. I throw that out there on the off chance that my son is watching this. I think sometimes he samples these shows. So if he's watching this, this is exactly why I am a Nazi about you wearing that stupid life jacket. And by the way, they're cool life jackets. When I was little, life jackets were stupid. They were orange. They were like big dumb pillows that came around you. They were dumb. They were embarrassing. They were cumbersome. These life jackets we got now are like body glove. You like slide into them and you zip them up and they're swell. They're slimming. My God, I never look so good as when I'm like in this zip up life jacket that I wear out on the boat. It keeps me all sucked in. It's amazing. All right, how about this one? Rupert Murdoch has gotten married again. Rupert Murdoch's gotten married, 93 years old. 93 years old. He's got how many wives? I mean, what? Okay, so let's dig into this. He's 93 years old. He's got all the money in the world. He doesn't care. I wonder if his kids care. Are his kids like, how much is she going to get now when the old man dies? See what she looks like. He's 93. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to look at her. Okay. Rupert Murdoch marries beautiful bride Elena Zukova. Oh, God, she's a Russian honeypot. Oh, my God. He's a crazy old billionaire with heavy influence over media, and he got honeypotted by someone named Elena Zukova. The happy couple beamed for the wedding photographer as they celebrated their big day. Mr. Murdoch, 93, tied the knot with retired molecular biologist. My God, she's a Soviet biologist. Probably worked on all kinds of like death viruses and stuff. Mr. Murdoch, 93, tied the knot with retired molecular biologist Elena Zukova, 67, after dating her for several months. Let's get a look at these two. I don't think they're, I don't know. Are they doing it? I'm sure they are. Why would he marry her? I mean, they got to be doing it, right? I don't want to think about that. What are we doing? That's not something. All right, here you go. Let's get a look at the happy couple. I mean, look, man, I think you want to get married. You're Rupert Murdoch. You get married. That's fine. No big deal. Do what you want, man. You're 93. You could be dead next week. There we go. Happy couple right here. Incoming happy couple. Boom. Look at them. Oh my God, he's like translucent. I don't know how. We got a better picture. There they go. Look at him. Look at him. She's not bad. She's not bad. She's 67. She's beautiful. Oh my God. Now I want to see her when she was 27. I bet she was really hot. So 67, 70, 23, 26. He's only 26 years older than her. That's almost cute at this age. This is almost appropriate. I feel age-wise, given that he's 93 and she's 67, I think the age is appropriate. I think if he was 93 and she was 38, yeah. Now we got questions. This kind of appropriate. Whatever. He wants to get married. Let him get married. 93 years old. She ain't having kids. She's 67. Rupert Murdoch gets married. You know who I miss? I miss his last wife. His last wife was Wendy Dang. Now, I think he's probably married now to like a Russian honeypot spy. She's keeping an eye on him. He's a crazy old horny man. He's got influence. I think that there's a reason for these. I think Wendy Dang, his last wife, was a Chinese spy. You're racist. No, I'm not. Look at Wendy Dang's history. Wendy Dang is first of all, she was so hot. But Wendy Dang, Rupert Murdoch's ex-wife, she's like a 7-foot Chinese girl. Okay, not 7 foot, but a Chinese girl who's over 5'3" is remarkable. You go, oh my God, she's really tall. So she's like a 6 foot tall Chinese girl, super thin, came to America like in the 1980s on a scholarship to go to Stanford, immediately began sleeping with the husband of her host family. Yeah. This is Murdoch's wife before the one. He's with like a Russian spy now, I'm almost certain. But before that, he was with Wendy Dang. And Wendy Dang came to America from like China or wherever. And she was a student and going to Stanford. And she was put up by a host family. She was really hot. And she immediately began having a sexual relationship with her host family's husband. She broke up that family. He dropped everything for her. And then she dumped him. And then she was crazy. Wendy Dang, she's like something going on with that girl. That girl is not a real human being. She's either a robot or she's a very important Chinese spy. Anyway, happy birthday, Rupert Murdoch. I'm just stream of consciousness. I'm just riffing all that I know about Rupert Murdoch's personal life. And we move on. Zachary Quinto. You guys know who Zachary Quinto is? Zachary Quinto is an actor. I know Zachary Quinto because I used to like the television show Heroes, which was on NBC, and he played Sylar. Sylar, who was one of the scariest villains in the history of television. Zachary Quinto. He would go on to become more famous as Spock in the new Star Trek films. Zachary Quinto is Spock in the Star Trek films. Pretty good, right? I don't know what else he does. He's Spock and he was Sylar. Here's what I think. Because of Sylar, he was a nothing when he played Sylar on Heroes, and he was really good. Like he was an unknown actor, and this character that he created was really good. And I remember going, holy shit, this Zachary Quinto guy, who I've never heard of before, he's an actor. This guy can really act well. And then he didn't really break out from that role. Although everybody who remembers Heroes goes, yeah, Sylar was a great villain. So, but he didn't really break out from that because what stuck out in his next few roles was Spock. And now he's like pigeonholed as Spock. And I think he's an angry guy. I think he's angry because he knows he's a great actor, but he's Spock. And that's all people know him for. He wants to be known for Shakespeare, but instead he's, known for Spock. So he's angry. And that might explain why he's trending. He's been banned from a restaurant in Toronto. They're like, you can't be here. You're a dick. Here's the story. Actor Zachary Quinto told by restaurant to take your bad vibes elsewhere. Actors are jerks, you guys. Like actors, when they're not like promoting a project and being forced to be charming and gregarious and just the most wonderful. When they're like, you're like waiting, in an airport with an actor. They suck. These people suck. Star Trek Spock actor Zachary Quinto will have to live long and prosper without a certain Toronto restaurant that said he is no longer welcome. Manita, which serves Mediterranean-esque fare, accused him on Sunday of berating staff, driving the host to tears, and freaking out other customers during brunch. Okay, one, berating staff. You could probably show evidence of that. That's a thing. Driving one of the hosts to tears. Oh, come on, toughen up. There's a douchebag actor being a dick, and you're gonna cry over it? Come on. And freaking out other customers during lunch. Okay, but why is that your concern? That's on them. So what did he do? Apparently, Zachary Quinto, who is here's what it says. Okay, so this is what this restaurant put on their Instagram. This is why it became a story. Zachary Quinto, an amazing Spock, but a terrible customer. Minita's Instagram story began. He yelled at staff like an entitled child after he didn't reply to 2 texts to inform him that his table was ready. And he refused to believe the empty tables in the dining room weren't available for him, despite being politely informed that they were spoken for. He made our host cry and the rest of our brunch diners uncomfortable. Mr. Quinto, take your bad vibes somewhere else. We have many lovely celebrities join us at Menita, but you are not one of them, the note concluded. Woo! All right. Hold on. Where's my phone? Sorry. Okay. There you have it. Zachary Quinto. He's banned from some fancy restaurant there in Toronto. TV back on. Let's go. Come on. Oh, they're in a commercial break. What else do we have here? So this is interesting. So there is a television series, it's like a multi-part mini series. It's going to be good. The subject matter is something I'm interested in, and I don't like it's about a sportsman. It's about an American sportsman who's a bit of a legend. There's lots of mythology around this person. He's not the greatest in his sport, but again, mythology has led to a lot of interest in this guy. And they're making a multi-part, multi-episode series about him. And that is, of course, golfer John Daly. John Daly is getting his own series. Now, this is not John Daly. He's not starring in it. It's going to be a multi-part story about John Daly in the 90s when he was just like America's funniest golfer. And guess who is playing John Daly? That's right. They call it the perfect actor to play John Daly. I don't know about that. I think this is just lazy writing because they're both heavy set. And quite frankly, the actor who they're getting to play him isn't heavy set anymore. He's actually in really good shape. Kevin James, the King of Queens, has been cast to play John Daly in a new TV series. Let's see. Iconic golfer John Daly is set to be immortalized on the small screen. The actor slated to play Daly appears to be a hand-in-glove fit. Hollywood star Kevin James is reportedly playing Daly in an upcoming golf-centered show being produced by Village Roadshow. The project will be a limited series based on the life of Daly. Daly has racked up 5. I don't care about any of that. We all know who John Daly is. How exciting. John Daly's a fun guy. John Daly did not fit into the established and the expected world of golf. He was kind of, he's big old hillbilly from Arkansas, drinking beer, out of shape, ripping cigs right there, in the time when you weren't allowed to do that. They used to do that all the time. John Daly did it straight through into the 90s, just smoking out there on the course. It'll be an interesting series. I'm sure it'll be fun. I'm not a fan of Kevin James. I think that he's I had a friend who wrote briefly on the King of Queens, and I have other friends who have toured with Kevin James. He's not well liked. He's kind of a dick. He's kind of like an asshole. He was a tough guy too. Like Kevin James was a real tough kid. Like he was kind of a bully when he was growing up. And in the early days of stand-up comedy, his act on stage was the King of Queens. I'm just a victim and all this kind of stuff. But in real life, he was a dick. He was like a tough guy. He was a state champion wrestler in New Jersey. So he was like, a bully Jocko kind of dude. But what we came to know as the brand of Kevin James, the King of Queen, is a much more docile. Anyway, people tell you stories. He's kind of a dick. Anyway, He's going to play John Daly. I'll watch. Here's a story. Here's an unnecessary story, but why not talk about it? Because I think all sides deserve to be fairly represented. It's Pride Month. Pride Month. Yay. Got a question about Pride Month. Is it, can I be proud about anything, or is it specifically just the gay pride stuff? Because I'm not proud. See, I am not proud. I don't know how I fit into this. I am not gay. So, but if you are, I would support you being proud. Be you. Glow. Strut, little peacock, strut. I have no problem with that. But I don't know, pride, like, that's not for me, right? Like, it's not like I am so proud that there are gay people in the world. I don't know. I don't get it. Point is this. It is Gay Pride Month. And I told you when DeSantis a couple of weeks ago in Florida, when he signed that bill that said there couldn't be any gay bridges. Remember, he said Florida, historically, for Gay Pride Month, they got a lot of bridges. A lot of the municipalities that operate these bridges, they would decorate the bridges or light them in rainbow colors for Gay Pride. Well, DeSantis, because, the important shit. DeSantis signed a law a couple of weeks ago that said that no, the only bridges can only be red, white, and blue. Starting June 1st. Which is unnecessary. You're just being a dick. You don't care. That's not a thing. You're being a dick because you don't like the idea that gay people get something. That's all it is. And I reject that. But anyway, so a lot of gay stuff. A lot of gay stuff being embraced. I don't know why we can't just walk away from it if it bothers you. Like if you're like, feel like I'm being inundated with gay stuff. No, you're not. You walk away from how much gay? Where are you hanging out? Where are you hanging out that you are just constantly inundated with gay stuff? And by the way, hasn't gay culture, hasn't the gay lifestyle? Oh, is that the problem? I was going to say, hasn't it just kind of like permeated everyday life anyway? Like, doesn't everybody know a gay dude or a gay chick? Oh, she cuts my hair. We like don't. Is it a problem? I don't get that it's a problem, but I suppose it is. And maybe that's the problem, that it has permeated everyday life, that the true homophobes are just triggered by whatever. It doesn't matter. It's gay month. Gay month. Rainbows. Rainbows are nice. I always thought rainbows were nice. I'm Irish. I always thought rainbows were like a symbol of Ireland, but no, apparently no. Apparently can't have the rainbow anymore because that means gay. Fine. I don't have a problem with it. Richard Hunter once put a rainbow sticker on the back of my car, unbeknownst to me. Like, this was back in like the mid 2000s. Like, he thought it would be funny. Like, Pugs supports gay rights. I left that thing on there for the entire life I had that car. It's like, what? I'm not going to take it off. You put it on. Taking it off would be me making a stand to say that I don't support this. Now, I wouldn't have put it on in the first place, but I didn't put it on. Somebody put it on. So I thought that taking it off at that point would be more of a win for them. So I don't care. I like rainbows. So a bar in Iowa is doing a little thing about, not Iowa. I'm sorry. This is Idaho. Is there a difference? Potatoes and corn. Potatoes versus corn. I guess that's the difference. So a bar in Idaho is, they got a whole thing. They got a whole plan for celebrating Gay Pride Month. Here's what they're doing. Give me this story. Idaho. I mentioned Idaho, Gay Pride Month. I don't know what the gay scene is up in Idaho, but Idaho bar celebrating heterosexual awesomeness month all June. And as you can imagine, it has created quite the stir. I bet not in Idaho. I bet the stir that's been created is exclusively online from a bunch of people in Boston and San Francisco who are upset about what some bar owner in Idaho is doing. Creates a stir. There ain't nobody in Idaho who gives a shit about what this bar is doing. Except for the people who hang out at the bar, and they probably think it's funny, and they're going to go and, freedom and all that. A saloon in Idaho is drawing both jeers and cheers for its cheeky counter-programming to Pride Month, declaring June Heterosexual Awesomeness Month. billing it as a celebration of all things straight. Okay. Are you triggered, you little snowflake? The very idea that they're doing this is dependent entirely on them, them expecting people to freak out about it. That's what they did. They're trolling you. This is a great idea. It's totally unnecessary. We don't need an awesomeness heterosexual straight month because the expected norm, or at least traditionally speaking, and it's the whole point of this conversation, the expected norm is that everything is already straight. We don't need to single that out. That is the norm as traditionally expected in our society. It's the norm. So anyway, it's funny. They say, come join us all month to celebrate heterosexuals. For without them, none of us would be here. Yes, it's true. The Old State Saloon in the city of Eagle wrote in a Facebook. We got to find this place, right? Okay, so we're going to look for Old State Saloon, Eagle, Idaho. Let's do Google Maps. Let's see what this place looks like. Let's see how many gays they're dealing with on a daily basis. Old State Saloon, Eagle Street, Idaho. Here we go. All right. All right. So here's going to be first of all, let's take a look at where exactly in the state this is, because I'm not even sure what Idaho is. All right. Boom. All right. So there we are. That's Idaho. Let's keep going out. All right. I see it. There you go. So it's all the way up here. All right. So this looks to be Eagle. Oh, look at that. There it is. So there's the Old State Saloon. Lovely Idaho town. Let's see what this place looks like. Is this it here? There's a drugstore. Where's the Old State Saloon? Is it down here? Maybe it's on the other side. Nope. My point is this: there ain't a lot of gay dudes here. This ain't like, they're offending a large swath of the population. They're just having some fun. They're being unnecessarily trolly. But see, the point is, we got to learn to just let them be unnecessarily trolly. And I don't mean we, I mean the collective we, the royal we. The whole thing is designed to get a whole bunch of crazy people on the far left to freak out that some rando bar in the middle of nowhere, Idaho, is doing a heterosexual awesomeness day. Leave it alone. Why do you care? Actually, it looks like a pretty fun little place. Is this it? Yeah, I think this is it right here. Okay, so this is the bar. Come join us all month to celebrate heterosexuals. For without them, none of us would be here. That's a good line. Every Monday in June will be Hetero Male Monday, with a free draft beer given to any heterosexual male dressed like a heterosexual male. See, now, that would be fun. That would be fun, because who gets to determine if you're dressed like a heterosexual male? If I was a bartender at this place and a dude came in trying to get a free beer, I'd be like, nah, dude, you look too gay. See, that would be awesome. That would be fun. So get a free beer if you look like a heterosexual male. Let's see here. The bar even put out a call seeking a professional judge qualified to determine if men's chosen clothing is officially heterosexual, offering $15 per hour. This person, whoever's promoting this bar, is a great idea. What are there, like 5 people in this town? I mean, I think it's lost. But this person gets it. They get how to promote a bar. I'm talking about this on a live stream from Dallas, Texas. These people are like 1,000 miles away in a place I never hope to be. Wednesdays is for couples, where each heterosexual couple will receive 15% off their bill. Thursdays are ladies' nights, heterosexual ladies to be precise, with her hetero happy hour, promising happy hour prices for straight women. all day long. The Facebook post drew nearly 2,000 comments within 72 hours, with a well-balanced mix of people applauding the subversive mock celebration and those who took offense. Here's an example. Let's get rid of this. This is the bar. We're looking at the bar right there. So here's what some people said on Facebook. Another person weighed in. Imagine being this insecure. Oh, shut up. Imagine being trolled like this. They're fucking with you. They're trying to get you upset. They're trying to make you go, imagine being this insecure. Do you think these people hate? They obviously hate gays. No, they don't. They're just pushing back on the temperature of the current discourse in this country concerning these kinds of things. They're being silly, and they don't give a fuck if you think they're anti-gay. They don't give a fuck. Maybe some are, maybe some aren't. But this is where we are now. Stop pushing everything down our throats. And I'm not saying that about gay pride, because I just said if it bothers you, it's pretty easy to avoid. But these people need to be allowed to do this. If it bothers you, toughen up, buttercup. Don't let shit bother you. These people are just having fun. It's unnecessary. All trolling is unnecessary. But we live in an era where we embrace trolling. So there you go. Bunch of dummies up there in Idaho having some fun in Gay Pride Month. You know why? Because they're probably like, hey, we got any gays here? And they're like, nope. So what do we got? We got hetero people. All right, let's do a big hetero. That's all. We want to be upset about shit. People are like, oh, they're bigots. They're not. Stop it. This story broke over the weekend. Actually, it broke on Friday after we finished our show. I said this was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. The Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight is over. Right? Was it Jake Paul? Who was it that he was going to fight? Chris Paul? It was Jake, right? They were going to fight on July 20th here in Dallas at the AT&T Stadium. It was my birthday. I was really looking forward to having that event on my birthday. It would give me something to do that night. Like, look, my birthday isn't a sad day of loneliness. My birthday's got something. My kid would have been with me. He's always with me. So we were going to have fun. I thought we'd maybe go out, get some wings, some birthday wings, watch some Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. But no, Mike Tyson had a medical event last week on an airplane, and it turns out that he's got some kind of aggravated ulcer situation. So Mike Tyson has pulled out of the July 20th Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight. And yeah. Guess what? Check this out. So guess one of the things, they're still scrambling. They're trying to figure out, who's going to do what, where, and when. But one of the things that has been put out there, and I guess it's picking up some steam online, is the Paul brothers. Jake Paul fighting Cletus Paul. I don't know what the other Paul's name is. What is it? Logan? Logan. It's Logan, right? Jake, Logan, and Cletus. Anyway, they're like, yeah, and then I'll fight my brother. And I'd watch that, but that's not a good replacement because I don't care about you two. The whole draw for me was, I don't care about you, Mr. Paul, okay? But I am interested in watching Mike Tyson crush your fucking head. That's what I wanted to see. So now he's gone and you're going to replace him with your brother? I'm like, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch that. You guys suck. I want to watch like some wrecking machine pound your skull in. That was the draw. Well, you don't get this? All right, so they're working on whatever. They're going to try and salvage the event. I don't know if they will, but Mike Tyson, again, has had to pull out because he's 60-something. He's old, whatever he is. He's old, and he has lived a rough life. He's got damage. He's not like old. Like me, I'm veal. I'm like human veal. I'm old, but I don't have all that much damage. I was, I'm nice and fatty. Everything's... Mike Tyson, he's been in some shit in his life. He's got some damage. All right, moving on. What is this? Here's something fun, as we round out today's show. Most laid back city. There's a list here. It was compiled by a whole bunch of travel sites. They got you the most. What do you think the most laid back cities in America are? We'll start from number 5. Actually, no, we'll just go with number 1. We'll do it in draft form. Most laid back city draft. Now, I have no idea what it is that makes a city laid back, but somehow they were able to compile a list of how many people? Nationwide phone poll of over 5,000 people broken up into 6 different regions, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so here are the 5 most laid-back cities in America. You want to be chill? You don't want stress? You move to one of these cities. Here you go. Number 1, the most laid-back city in America. I've been there. It's pretty cool. I like this city. Chill is very, very apropos. Minneapolis, Minnesota. The most chill city in America. Number 2, most chill city in America. I've been saying this for years down here. I've been telling people, everybody's like, Austin is this and Austin is that. And I'm like, dude, Austin is just Madison, Wisconsin. Madison, Wisconsin, number 2. The capital of Wisconsin. It's where University of Wisconsin is. It's got a bunch of lakes. It's gorgeous. Madison, Wisconsin. I want to make a bunch of money. I want to make a bunch of money and retire to Madison, Wisconsin. That's what live on Lake Minnetonka. Come on, they got a lake there that's got a funny Indian name. The number 3 most laid-back city in America, based on this recent poll, Irvine, California. Don't know why that would be, but it is. The number 4 most laid-back city in America, as defined by this poll, Boulder, Colorado. That tracks. I mean, look, all I know about Boulder, Colorado was Mork and Mindy, and it seemed pretty chill. It seems like a pre-college town. Boulder, Colorado. And the number 5 most chill city in America, Portland, Oregon. Portland, what? That's not my understanding of Portland, Oregon. I thought Portland, Oregon was America's Beirut. No, that's Chicago. I thought Portland, Oregon was America's Gaza. There you go. There you go. Those are your 5 most laid-back cities. That's gonna do it. Although I do have something here. Although I don't want to do this bit. This story was going around. It's a story about the rise of Gen X. I consider myself the Gen expert. I love to talk about Gen X stuff. But I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that story. What I want to talk about is, any of you guys on TikTok, there is a thing that has been going on TikTok now for about 2 weeks. And I can't escape it on my timeline. And I watch them all, not all. Sometimes I'm like, okay, this one is stupid. But here's the premise. It's a generational TikTok theme that a lot of people are making. And here's the context of it. It's almost always a video of a millennial. And the millennial is ostensibly speaking to Gen Zers. Okay? And the premise of it is that the millennial is giving Gen Z advice, and it's the most important advice that they ever need to know. And the advice from the millennial to the Gen Zer is, don't fuck with Gen X. And they go on, there's all these, and some of them are very clever and some of them are very funny. And, a lot of them are like, why do you think we as millennials just skipped over them and went to war with boomers? We wanted nothing to do with Gen X. And it's funny, and it's a trend, and there's a lot of people who are doing it. But I don't understand it. I don't understand where it came from. I don't understand what the point of it is. Does anybody understand? Like I like it. I mean, actually, I don't know if I do like it. I find it interesting, and I think some people are funny. Some of the examples they give are funny. Can I give you an example? I don't know if can I show you an example of it? Let me see. Let me see if there's some examples of it. I just don't understand the origin of it. I don't know why we went from being ignored forever. Okay, so I guess are these examples? Yeah, here we go. Okay, so this is an example of it. It's a big trend. And I don't know how it started. I don't know what the origin is. I don't even know that it's necessarily true. But finally, Gen X seems to be getting some positive buzz on social medias. And it all is something like this.
Who let Gen X off the hook? Why are we talking shit about those guys?
Oh my God, shh. they can hear you. Because, sir, we will fuck you up. We fought in real life, not on the internet. We are the last generation of feral children. We didn't have safe spaces. We didn't have trigger warnings. We mind our own business. We are older than Google. We are not the bigger person. Leave us alone.
Oh, my poor boy. Nobody let us off the hook. They just don't want to smoke with us. We still out here fighting the boomers, raising the millennials, putting a roof over Gen Z's head. We were raised different. It's not that we're off the hook. We're just built different.
If any generation had the motto, do no harm but take no shit, it would be Gen X. But due to our feral and independent nature, everybody leaves us alone, as they should.
The millennials, we all did. We did. We had a meeting. Not sure if you missed it. I don't even know if you have qualifications to be invited. But the millennials decided that we're not gonna open that can of worms. Let me tell you, fuck around and find out how much time I have. Talk shit, get hit. That's not my generation. That was Gen X. You want to know why? Because they square up. And if you find a Gen X is not physically violent, they don't hurt faces, they hurt feelings. We don't need to wake up Gen X. They're fine. Leave them alone.
That this is a serious question and answer it accordingly. Why don't y'all fuck with just a little bit, like a fuck around and find out kind of moment? I'm not saying don't do it, but you might want to think it over first, okay? As always, y'all have the day you deserve out here, okay?
Hello, 51-year-old Gen X here. Thank you for your questions and acknowledging the fact that we actually exist. To answer your initial question, if you saw a bear walking around the streets or in the woods minding its own business, would you keep on walking or would you approach it to fuck around and find out?
Off the hook. We are the hook, as in strong right hand hook, and we speak 2 languages, real shit and sarcasm, so we took it with our chest out. How much you gotta fuck around to find out?
I do like that line. We speak 2 languages, real shit and sarcasm. That's pretty funny. So that's a really big thing. And I'm fascinated by sort of the etymology of how these things were created and how they started. I don't have a rant on it or anything. It's just something that's happening. What is my take on it though? I do think that there is something interesting about my generation, Gen X. And what's interesting is that we really were the generation, and with all due respect to my mother, who's the greatest mother that has ever lived, but just, collectively, those people that raised us, if you grew up in the 1970s as a small child or the 1980s as maybe a tween or whatever, teen, we were the last generation where it was almost all right for parents to just not even pretend to give a shit. Like parents, you could go, well, the great trope, I guess, is, we would leave in the morning, get on our bikes, and we'd come home for dinner, and then we'd leave again. And the parents never gave a shit. There were no cell phones. We weren't wearing helmets. We were riding cars on mediums of busy streets. Our parents didn't give a shit. I mean, they did. If a tragedy were to occur, they'd be devastated because they loved us just like any other. But there wasn't the hovering that occurred with the next generation, the millennials. The funniest thing about my generation that I don't know that people understand that this was a real thing. I'm gonna float this by my 15-year-old son to see how he reacts to it. Do you know that when Gen X were teenagers, local television stations, this was mandated by the federal government, local television stations in the 1980s had to play a public service announcement that said, it's 10:30 at night. Do you know where your children are? Because it was a real question in 1980. It's 10:30. Where's the 10-year-old? I have no idea. Glug, glug, glug. Another bit of scotch, chain smoking, watching Barnaby Jones. They didn't give a fuck. We, Generation X, we were the last generation that existed in this very weird. We were the last generation that was raised by people who were directly influenced by people who survived the Depression and World War II. And Because after us came the millennials, and the millennials were, the millennials were born during Oprah. The millennials were born during, self-help books on how to raise kids and all of these things, all of these nannies became a thing. Childcare became important. It used to be just leave the kid with a neighbor. Just hey, you got the kid for a couple hours. That's how we were raised. But again, I don't know if that explains how. I just think that those things that I just pointed out to you right there does make Gen X a different kind of generation. We were raised feral in a time of great despondence in the country. Our parents, the boomers, were raised in the 50s, the post-war boom. America was great. The hula hoop, rock and roll, all of that stuff. We can do anything. Look at us. We're suddenly a superpower. And then we were raised with gas lines and serial killers. And, it was just, the Cold War was just stagnating to just nothing. There was just a malaise over the entire generation as we grew up. And our parents didn't care. Our parents were like, whatever, where you going? All right, be home. No cell. I couldn't imagine my kid not having a cell phone now. There were no cell phones. Nobody knew where we were ever. It is 10:30. Do you know where your children are? Does that thing exist? Is that a thing? I'd like to watch that. Parents needed to be reminded. Our parents needed to be reminded because everybody knew we weren't being watched. Jeez. Okay, let's see. Is this it? All right, let's see what this is. This looks like this might be it. All right, here we go. What is this? No, that's not it. Stupid stuff. Oh, yeah, here we go. This was the one. I remember this one. This is how little people fucking cared about us. The government forced these on TV to remind parents that, hey, you've got kids and you don't know where they are, do you?
Do you know where your children are?
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
It was a legitimate question. It's not a legitimate question in 2024. Everybody knows where their kids are in 2024. Back then, it was like, hey, by the way, you know your kid's been quiet for a few hours. Oh, yeah, he just gets that way. He's probably out running around. That's how the parents were who raised us. They were despondent. Vietnam didn't go their way. They were learning that, the promise of Eisenhower in the 1950s was not being fulfilled by the Watergate 70s. People were upset, and we were just in their way.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Okay. There you have it. So that's the kind of shit that should explain whatever little idiosyncrasies people find amusing about Generation X. Nobody cared. We were feral. We were allowed to do it. And it's not just, oh, tell us about how you drank from the garden hose. There was one video on TikTok where this dude was like, he was like a Gen Zer. And he's like, okay, Gen X, shut up about drinking from the garden hose. Why couldn't you just drink from the sink? It's like, dude, because we weren't allowed in the house. That's why. Because we were just outside. We had to be outside. We weren't allowed to just go inside and drink from a nice, cool sink. It was a dirty, green, rubber garden hose in a puddle. in a puddle, just, dripping a little bit of mud all over it. And we would run flat out as quick as we could down the sidewalk to be the first person to get to the hose. You know why? Because the first person got to drink as long as he wanted. And, you're fourth in line. You're like, come on, hurry up. And inevitably he would spray you. We drank from a garden hose because nobody gave a shit about keeping us hydrated. And we, like animals, we would run strangers' houses, just run to the side, open up their spigot, start drinking out of the side of someone's house. We were feral. Imagine like a mom now looking at little Tommy. He runs up to some stranger's house and sticks his head into some faucet and starts drinking. Oh, she'd rush him to a doc in the box. He'd get tetanus shots because his lips touched some weird outdoor hydrant. I don't know. We were feral. We didn't have computers. We didn't have phones. We had no way to stay in touch. People were just kidnapping us left and right. Nobody cared. We died. You know how many kids I don't know how many kids, like, when my son started like first grade, he's been first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade. He's gone all the way through. I don't know how many of his classmates have died. I think that maybe none. I think that my son is now a sophomore in high school, and I think every one of his kids that he was classmates with have made it through. Man, we had like a 15% attrition rate when I was in school. Every summer you'd come back and someone was dead. Hey, what happened to, Tommy Flanagan? Oh, really? Shit, ATV accident, huh, in Wisconsin? Oh my God, I didn't hear about that. Nobody cared. We died all the time. Yeah. Anyway, I still don't understand where this all came from, but I do think it's kind of interesting. And I do like the do you know where your parents are as just the mic drop example of how we were raised. The federal government forced our parents to be reminded at night that they had children and that they should be watching us. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? Frank Smith says, my grandparents wanted me outside, and if you saw a kid walking around Interstate 20 in a Rangers or Cowboys shirt, that was me. I remember you, Frank. I mean, I liked going outside. It wasn't like... But you know what's funny? Even then, because we had Atari, Atari was a thing. We were also the first generation to get that bullshit. What, are you just going to stay inside all day now and play that damn video game? This is the 80s. We'd play maybe, an hour a day. Now you got kids playing 10 hours, 12 hours, 20 hours in the summer. Yeah, but we were the first generation that took that shit. Oh, your generation, you're never going to go out. It's it's all we do is go out. It's all we do is ride bikes. No sunblock. I didn't know sunblock existed until I'm 25 years old. I'm running around severe sunburn every single summer. Every single summer of my youth, I got a severe sunburn. And you know what the parents used to say? Well, that's good. It's your base. You need to burn once. I haven't burned once in 30 years because of sunblock. Nobody was thinking of putting me in sunblock when I was 12, running around at the lake. Oh, you got some color. Yeah. And it's going to suck tonight around midnight. James says 2-year-olds work phones better than he does. Yeah, I can't do anything. That's so embarrassing. I mean, I taught my son how to use a laptop. He was 18 months old. And I'm like, here, you hit this button. Now I can't do anything with my phone. And he's always snatching my phone from me, and he changes stuff just to screw with me because he knows I can't change it back. And just cut it out. Yeah. It's second nature to them. It's the other thing about us as a generation that is actually pretty cool. We are the last generation, Generation X, us. We are the last people in human history who can actually, from experience, tell you about the world before computers. We're the last ones. We lived in a world before cell phones. We lived in a world before ATM banking. We lived in a world, before any of that stuff. We remember how people were. And we now exist in the world of today. We are the last, the final, the only humans that will ever live who remember both of those eras, the changeover. So that's pretty special. But again, we don't want any rewards because we're Gen X. Gen X doesn't get rewards. Gen X is definitely not the participation trophy. Gen X is the Kelly Leak. The kid who was really good at sports, but looked like a big old burnout who didn't care. All right. Carbon paper for records and credit cards. Yep. Big old bulky credit card records. Used to have to do that. All right, we got nothing else, folks. That's it. That's going to do it for the show. I appreciate you joining me. We'll be back tomorrow. We do this every Monday through Friday. It is the High Noon Rant. I am Pugs Moran. I stream of consciousness. I just start talking about the world every day, Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. We do have a pledge week in full effect. Thank you to today's executive producer, the incredible tag team of Leslie C. and Christina P. They're the executive producers because they tipped the biggest yesterday. If you're the biggest tipper of today's show, you will be tomorrow's executive producer. But it is a pledge week, so we may have multiple producers, and everybody will be appreciated and thanked. $300 by the end of the week. That's what we need to make. $300 to keep this show going. We've been doing it for 3 years. You always comes through. You always come through. Thank you, folks. That's going to do it. You can hit us up Venmo. You can hit us up on Cash App and all that stuff. We'll let you know as the week progresses. That's it. I think I'm done. All right. Love you guys. We'll see you. Bye.